Varying perspectives and specific circumstances can often lead one to contradict fundamental moral values, demonstrating the distinct inconsistencies within human behaviors and motivations. Such contradictions are clearly evident in Denis Villeneuve's 2017 American neo-noir science fiction film Blade Runner 2049 and Lucy Walker's 2010 British-Brazilian documentary Wasteland. Both films address the human condition, albeit in starkly different ways. 2049 uses complexly written characters and a well-rendered world to explore what it means to be human, whilst Wasteland exposes us to the reality of life for the underprivileged of Rio de Janeiro. Whilst both films in many ways juxtapose one another, each provides insights into the inconsistencies of human behavior and motivations. Both films feature protagonists that hold little significance within their world. They work on the fringes of society, doing the dirty work as faceless cogs in the grand machine. They are social outcasts, as evidenced by the dialogue from Wasteland. We see things that aren't pleasant, and sweeping aerial shots of rural farms and garbage dumps that Kay travels to in 2049. Within this element of the narrative lies an essential inconsistency in humanity. We know their work is important, yet we refuse to recognize them as equals. This is made clear in Wasteland, as the film forces the viewer to see the work and importance of the Cateros in full, uncompromising view. Walker uses vast, sweeping wide shots of crashing garbage and working Cateros. It's a sight to behold, making the viewer question their own assumptions about the underclass. In 2049, Kay, a Blade Runner, performs a task viewed as essential by the institutions of his world, but is nonetheless constantly discriminated against as a replicant. He works for humans, yet is treated cruelly by them for it, as evidenced by the consistent usage of the jargon term skin job, a replicant name slurred. This discrimination is a clear example of the hypocrisies and therefore inconsistencies in the human ideals of acceptance and tolerance. By mirroring real-world social issues of racism and bigotry, Villeneuve's film provokes a viewer to consider their own possible role in perpetuating these issues. Throughout the duration of 2049, Kay undergoes a number of harrowing and revelatory experiences, each serving to highlight the inconsistencies within his character. There is, however, one central hypocrisy in his life separate to the main plot: his relationship with Joy, his artificial holographic girlfriend. Kay yearns to be treated as a human being, yet he is perfectly content to partake in a relationship that violates the fundamentals of a human relationship. It is completely one-sided, as every one of Joy's actions and quote-unquote desires are designed to please Kay. She has no autonomy of her own, as she is simply a mass-produced, pre-programmed product, and despite wanting a true relationship, Kay remains in denial about this. Joy symbolizes Kay's own role in the cyclical discontentment pervading his life, as he wishes to be treated as human, yet he won't break out of this unrealistic, almost toxic relationship. Similarly, Sulem, a Catador from Walker's documentary, cannot break out of her unfulfilling and monotonous lifestyle until the catalyst of Denis's art transforms her life. Despite proclaiming a certain pride for her work, she also clearly expresses a deep disdain for the dump and has dreams beyond it, stating, "If it was up to me, I'd open a daycare center." Instead of taking steps to change things herself, she wallows in self-pity, motivated only by Denis's arrival. She also expresses her own underlying hypocrisy, as despite bitterly despising society for treating her inhumanely, she looks down upon the work of prostitutes, evidenced by her words, "At least I'm not involved with the drug traffic or prostituting myself." This further serves to highlight inconsistencies and hypocrisies within human attitudes and behaviors, as the Catadors, despite being part of the underclass of society, ironically judge prostitutes as a collective, rather than viewing them as individuals deserving of the very understanding and fairness that they themselves crave. Though starkly contrasting in a number of aspects, Denis Villeneuve's neo-noir science fiction film Blade Runner 2049 and Lucy Walker's documentary Wasteland each present the inconsistencies within human behavior and motivations clearly. Both 2049 and Wasteland present us with flawed protagonists, inconsistent and self-contradictory in their motivations and attitudes, as well as highlighting the hypocrisies and paradoxes within the worlds they inhabit. 2049 mirrors the racial discrimination prevalent today, and Wasteland clearly presents the timeless issues of class discrimination. The exposition of such social issues within societies built on principles of tolerance and fairness serves to clearly highlight the inconsistencies and hypocrisies within human attitudes and motivations, and thus 2049 and Wasteland both bring light to the distinct and definite inconsistencies in human behaviors and motivations in individuals, collective groups, and social institutions.